I want you to imagine that you have a friend who's kind of maybe sharing a little bit about their life, and this friend tells you that the doctor told him or her that they need to lose weight just to be healthier. And so they tell you, hey, I need to lose weight. And I've always heard that going to the gym is a... Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me back? Yeah? I don't know what's going on here. Jesus does that. I mean, the devil doesn't want you to hear what I'm going to say. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. All right, so your friend is telling you about losing weight. They're telling you they've heard that going to the gym is a really good way to lose weight. And so they tell you, but something really odd's been happening to me, So about 3 months ago, I started going to the gym 6 days a week for 1 hour. And instead of losing weight, I've been gaining weight. And this past month, I actually increased to 2 hours a day for 6 days a week. And I've gained even more weight. And I just feel really unhealthy. And I feel like I can't sleep as well anymore. And I just feel really unhealthy. And so as you kind of see your friend, you see perhaps that they've gained some weight. You find it odd, right? They've been going for 2 hours to the gym for the past month, 1 hour before that, six times a week. You're like, there's something odd going on here. And so you ask your friend, hey, you tell me more about what do you do when you go to the gym? And your friend gets all excited and he says, oh, well, I've been really, really loving it, They have this really cool hot tub in the gym. And so most of the time, I just go into the hot tub for like the hour or 2 hours and I chill. It's super, super awesome. They also have this awesome room where I go there sometimes. We have this couch and a flat screen TV and tons of free snacks. And so I just hang out there for an hour or two. And, but I'm going to the gym 6 times a week and I just don't understand. As your friend is telling you this, you're like, okay, what is going on with my friend? They clearly do not understand what it means to go to the gym, right? They may be going physically to the building, but they're not going to the gym, right? They don't understand what it even means to go to the gym. Their concept of going to the gym is completely wrong. Of course, it's not yielding the results they desire. So why am I sharing this kind of thought experiment with you? Something similar can happen to us in the Christian life. What is one of the core things about being a Christian? You know it. It's love. Loving God above everything, and then loving our neighbor as ourselves. And all the readings today just talk about this reality. What does Jesus say? This is my commandment. Love one another as I love you. Later on, he says, this I command you. Love one another. Second reading the same. What does St. John say? Beloved, let us love one another, because love is of God. Everyone who loves is begotten by God and knows God. And whoever is without love does not know God, for God is love, right? We know this. Love is central to being a Christian. Love, love, love. But what if our understanding of love is wrong? What if it's not accurate? What if we think that we're loving, but we're really not loving? Kind of similar to this imaginary friend, who thinks they're going to the gym, but they're not really going to the gym because they don't really understand what it entails. What if we do not really understand what love entails? And so sometimes we may think that we are loving, but we're not really loving because we have a wrong understanding of love. If we have the wrong understanding of love, that would be very serious because, like as I said, love is so essential, such a core of being a Christian, a follower of Jesus. So if we get this wrong, we're going to get the following of Jesus wrong. So we have to continue to understand what it actually means to love so that therefore we can actually be Christians. We can actually follow Jesus. If I were to bet, you actually do kind of know what it means to love, at least to some extent, because of the way God has made us and the way we're wired. We kind of intuit a lot about what love actually entails, but our understanding has to constantly grow and be purified. Myself included, my understanding of love has to grow and be purified all the time. And there's one particular tendency that I see in our culture today regarding love that is not really accurate. So I want to talk about this particular thing that I think our culture sometimes presents as love that needs to be purified. I want to dive into that. Now, before I dive into that, just kind of what is love in general, and I guess we all have this sense of what love is willing the good of the other. Like if you love somebody, you will their good. You want their good. You want them to flourish. You love the person, you want them to be happy. You love this person, you want them to go to heaven. You want them to have friends. You want them to have health. You want the good of the other. If you love a person, you want their good. Okay. Now, however, sometimes our culture seems to present that to love is merely to want the other to feel good. Let me say that again. Sometimes our culture presents that to love is merely to want the other just to feel good. Now, to be sure, if we love somebody, we want them to feel good, of course. I love my mom. I want her to feel good all the time, right? This is part of love, right? But love is more. It is more than this. It is more than just wanting somebody to feel good. In fact, sometimes if we really love someone, we have to be okay with them not feeling good, and perhaps even okay with being the cause of why they may not be feeling that great. Let me give you two examples. One general, one just a personal example. So, imagine you're a parent of a 3-year-old, or maybe you're an older sibling of a 3-year-old, and the 3-year-old is starting to run into the street, and you see there's a car coming down, and the car seems to be going fast. Now, if you love this little child, whether it's yours or your sibling or something, what are you going to do? Man, you're going to yell at the top of your lungs to the name of this child and be like, stop, right? Because you don't want them to cross the street because they may die right then and there. And if you're close enough, you're going to run and grab the kid with great force to save this child's life. Is doing this a loving thing? Absolutely. You're saving this child's life. But how do you think this kid is going to feel? Horrible. He's going to be super scared, right? They're going to start crying. You yelled at them. You were kind of harsh with them, right? Is he going to feel good as you're saving them from this possible accident? Of course not. But it is a good thing that you did? Yes. It is a very loving thing. Which is just one example where love does not feel good, because you know that there's something greater. This kid's life is greater than just how they're going to feel at that moment. So you're willing to say, hey, yes, I would love for this kid not to be scared. I don't want them to feel scared, but it is more important that I save their lives. And so I'm going to forego their feelings for a second for the sake of saving their life, right? It's a loving thing sometimes, even though you're being maybe the cause of them not feeling that great, but you're saving their lives. Maybe another example, this is a personal example. So when I was in high school, I was dating somebody, and our school was organizing this really, really, really awesome party. There were like really nice printed invitations. There was going to be a DJ, a dance floor, and it's going to be a really, really cool venue. I think it was like a rooftop or something like that. It was going to be awesome. Well, I can't remember why, but I couldn't go to the party. I had some commitment, or I was something with my family, I think. And yet, my girlfriend, whom I was dating, was still going to go with her friends. Well, for some reason, probably because I was an immature 16-year-old, I was not having it. I was like, she's going to go without me? How dare she? So I was super upset, right? And I wanted to be there, and I couldn't. So I was like, well, if I can't be there, she shouldn't be able to go. And so I was like on the phone, I think, with her or something. And my parents saw that I was like upset. And my parents are like, hey, what's going on? Why are you so upset? And I was like, well, like, there's this party that the school is organizing, and so, right? My girlfriend is going, and as you know, I can't go because tonight we have this thing, and I just don't think it's fair that she should go. And they're like, is she going with another guy or something like that? Or just with her friends? And I was like, no, just with her friends. And my parents told me, well, why shouldn't she go? There's nothing wrong with her going with her friends. She's not your possession. Like, it's a healthy, good party. She has all her right to go if she wants to go with her friends. Now, how do you think I felt when my parents told me that? Not happy at all. I was livid. I was like, no, right? But because my parents love me, because they love me, they were not going to put up with my nonsense. I was being immature and possessive, right? So they told me the truth, even though it was very painful to hear that from them. And deep down inside, I knew they were right, but I couldn't accept it, right? I was, too much pride, and I was like, no, like, I'm right, whatever, right? But as I reflected and time went on, I was like, my parents were totally right. I was just being ridiculous, right? Even though it hurt my feelings to hear this from my parents, it was the truth, and it was a loving thing they did to tell me this, to help me to grow. And now, and a few years later, I was grateful. They helped me. They helped me to grow. Like, yeah, this is not healthy, right? Sometimes loving is more than just wanting the other to feel good. Something that can be a greater thing, by which you have to forego a little bit the feelings of the other for the sake of a greater good. And Jesus does this all the time. And the gospel, he says today, this is my commandment, love one another. How? As I love you. And how does he love? What does he say to Peter one time? He tells Peter, get behind me, Satan, for your thinking is not of God. How do you think Peter felt right after that? Jesus told him, get behind me, Satan. Probably not very good. But Jesus loved him. And he didn't want Peter to have a wrong idea of what it meant to follow him. Or when Jesus called out the Pharisees, what did he call them? Hypocrites. Now, was he insulting them? No, that's not what Jesus was doing. Jesus was wanting them to know that they were living a hypocritical life, because he could tell that was the fact, and he loved them too much for them to not hear the truth. He wanted them to change, to actually hear what God was doing, because he loved them and wanted them to follow him, right? Love is wanting the good of the other. And so should we want the other to feel good? Absolutely yes. Should we try for others to feel good? Yes, we should. But love is more than just wanting the other to feel good. And sometimes love is doing something that is not going to make the other feel good, even though the thing in itself is very loving. And I do think our culture often wants us to believe that love is merely to make others feel good, and this is just not true, right? Of course, it is part of love to help others feel good. We want others to feel good, but sometimes there's a greater thing for which feelings are a lesser thing, and so they have to be foregone or be okay with perhaps somebody not feeling as great. So as we become aware of this fact, how do we apply this to our lives? I would say two things. One regarding how we receive love, and then the other regarding how we love others. So when somebody approaches you or says something to you, or when somebody does something towards you that is hurtful, that hurts, right? You have to reflect and actually reflect what is going on here. Am I hurting just because it hurts and this is a good thing that was done towards me or that was said to me? Or was the thing not good, right? Maybe somebody just called you like an awful name. Well, then, yeah, you feel awful, and they had no right to say that to you, and they're being sinful by saying this to you, right? But it could also be that they said something to you that it hurt, and it's okay that it hurts, right? But as it hurts, you're like, but what they said is actually true, or what they said is actually good, or what they did is actually good. And even though it hurts, then I have to actually accept that love. I'd have the humility, it's super hard. Like I was mentioning in my example, I didn't want to accept my parents were right? My pride wouldn't let me, right? We have to have that humility to receive this kind of tougher love, even though it's painful. And it's okay for it to be painful, right? But we have to be able to say, yes, it's painful, it sucks, I don't like it, and yet this is a loving thing that is being done to me or that is being said to me, and I have to have the humility to accept it, right? And this is growing in our ability to receive love. This is the first thing. And the second thing regarding giving love, as I quoted earlier, Jesus exhorts us to love as he loves. Love one another as I love you. And he loves in many ways, but one of the ways sometimes is in wanting the good of the other, and sometimes when that implies hurting somebody's feelings, being okay with that. So maybe you have a friend that gets drunk every weekend, or a friend that is wanting to move in with their girlfriend even though they're not married, or whatever it is. And you know this is not good for them, because Jesus wouldn't want them to do this. So you have to take it to prayer and say, Lord, are you asking me to love this friend in the particular way of telling them that what they're doing is not good? Right? And as you take it to prayer, but the Lord may invite you to do this, and if so, you have to be okay with having a tough conversation with this person, and having that conversation may be a very loving thing to do. Of course, you want to do it kindly and not harshly, but as you do that, or whatever action you need to take, you have to sometimes to be okay with perhaps the feelings of this person are going to be hurt, but that is the loving thing to do. Right? Now, we don't want to be doing this all the time, because then we're going to become unbearable if all the time we're just doing things that are hard for people's feelings, right? But we have to take it to prayer, be prudent, ask the Lord, is this something you want me to address, even though it may be hard for the other person to hear or to receive? And if so, then I have to take action if I really love them, because I want their good, and their good may be something greater than just their feelings. May we today heed the Lord's command to love one another as he loves us.